you want to tell me that this thing was not recording?
It was. It's recording.
Oh, okay.
Talita was asking for an invitation to the next session, so we just need to get her in the group. Or put her on the mailing list.
Okay. I'll make a follow-up.
Is it just us? Is
Yeah. Score is gone.
Score's gone.
Why?
We finished a bit early, so actually I've got maybe 10 minutes. I've been in front of a screen the whole day.
Shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with all those meetings.
Yeah.
How many meetings do you have today?
3.
3.
Yeah, plus kind of like the in-between work. So,
Sure.
yeah, I started at like 11.
Shame. I had too much to do yesterday, so at least today, attending the earlier meeting kind of also give my brain a little bit of a break. Yeah.
I was working. It was a good session.
Yeah, it was, and interesting enough today, both speakers, we didn't have that thing of feeling that the other one is more articulate than the other. Both of them were actually quite comfortable. That was actually very nice to see.
Look, I mean, for me, I think it's very, as I said, very affirming. And what I would like is I would really like some thought space, because I think out of all these discussions, we can put together kind of like a journey, a trip. What are the different issues that you have to cover and think about and know about? It can help us to think about what are the women's leadership issues that we talk, you know what I mean? So that fireplace discussions are not just about, let's get together and talk, but there's almost kind of a slight curriculum. Yeah.
I had actually started last week. I had started putting down some of the, I think based on the sessions we've had, just the pointers, some kind of perhaps like curriculum, like these are the topics. Yeah, I started putting something like that without necessarily going into the detail, but I was thinking that might actually help us in terms of saying, so-and-so can you write on this, so-and-so can you write on that, but also like really looking at what are the issues that need to go into each chapter. So for me, like if you think about today, in fact, the way both of them have actually closed off the issues around courage building, and that whole thing around vulnerability and all that from Kemi at a leadership level. Of course, like it, and if you think about it, it goes back to how she started about her own story and her own journey of feeling like she's an imposter and fearing and all that, and ending into saying, but we can actually address that. There are issues you can do. You need the support of the leaders who are able to see that this person has got a potential. They need coaching. They need a mentor. That kind of stuff. So it shows both sides. And then with Kemi, I actually think what Kemi was saying, that whole, Talita, building value, showing value, is a big question that we need to see how we work with.
So, it's interesting to me because I feel like that's the discussion we were beginning to have yesterday when we were talking about the consumer spend of women, those kinds of things. Yes. So we kind of need to build I think we need to build a business case I mean, it's easy. There's so many business cases around diversity and why women need to be in the workplace. I think we need to build a little bit more strength on the transformative experience of having women in the workplace. What Cami was saying about you bring the empathy, the storytelling, the vulnerability, and what that means for innovation and production, or for innovation and bottom line, right? And then the last part is the kind of the value of the female rand. And that's kind of like that's where we get to the kind of, what do you call it, the social space. Because for me, and I think this is why UN Women will buy into it, if we're not keeping women working and earning, we've got big problems. So my thing is still how to weave that in, that actually they currently hold a particular earning potential, but it is important developmentally and economically that they continue to. And so that all of a sudden shifts the gear to, what are you doing to make sure that your employee stays an employee? And in the South African context, because I know in the South African context, there's a high attrition rate. A lot of women leave corporate to go into consultancy.
Yes, and in fact, right now, I don't know which study it is that was showing that when just around the COVID, that is the majority of people who have lost work is women.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the South African stats today. I heard them. There've been 2 million retrenchments.
Sure.
And what was the statistic? I think 70% of them were women.
We must actually do a meme around that. I think we need to do a meme around that as part of the campaign, perhaps this week. I don't know whether it should, I don't know, which shows, because at the end of the day, it goes back to what Talita was saying, that the responses are not looking at women. They are looking at staff, yet there is a disproportionate impact of COVID on women.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of narrative that shows the number of people that have been dismissed and the women, and what is that?
Retrenched.
Yes, yeah.
And I mean, another meme would be the number of, the number of deaths in terms of essential workers has been predominantly women as well. Yeah.
So the first one is that one, the retrenchments, and then showing the percentage of women, and then that part that talks about the responses that are gender neutral. So okay, and then the one on deaths of the essential workers. Actually, you know, as we were saying, I must actually try and see if I can find Glencore tomorrow.
Yeah, why?
And because they were saying most of their staff are essential workers. Just to have that conversation with them.
Yeah. Claude's asking when we're going to debrief.
She can just hop in. By the way, this thing is still recording, which is fine because it's part of our conversation, but it's not on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that in terms of the kind of, I don't want to call it curriculum. I want to call it kind of like this empowerment journey that the fireplace discussions provide. The two pieces that I think are missing is what we've been doing on Mellow Mondays, and what that looks like in the workspace language is kind of
wellness,
resilience, wellness, self-care.
Resilience, yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of there needs to be a session on that. And then I do think that we need a deep methodological session on storytelling.
So we need to?
We need a deep session on storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
So not just us saying the value of storytelling, but like teaching storytelling as a mechanism and modeling it. Cami reminded me when she spoke about, what book did she speak about? Nancy Klein. So Nancy Klein does the deep listening. Yeah, remember the deep listening exercise we did? I think we did it in Sugar Misa, the deep listening exercise. And Nancy Klein does that deep listening exercise. So kind of just putting it a little bit of theory and practice around storytelling so that when people have to show up with storytelling, they know how to do it. Because what was great about this session is that Cami and Talita knew how to tell stories.
Yeah. It was really good. Was actually, it felt not easy, but I don't know what's the right word, but like it just flowed. It just flowed. It was actually very nice because I think for me, taking notes, it was easier to actually take notes and remember what they were saying. Yeah. I don't know. So
I think she's gone. Oh, no, she's typing.
Okay.
She's just, yeah. I don't know if she's going to join us. I suspect kids are hungry and about to become monsters.
They were singing earlier. I actually liked what Kemi was saying. The fact that she actually lifted that to is something that we talk about all the time. That this space, children, we've come to their space, and therefore we need to be comfortable. But also, like, to hear that even the business school actually made that as part of their policy. And there was something that, there was something that said.
Did she say it was part of a policy?
She was? Did
she say it was part of a policy?
Well, it became part of the practice, but it was said. It's not something that was that just happened. There was a talk about allowing that to happen. And I think for me, the question, there's something that Talita said, and with all these things that we're talking about, the question for me is whether we can actually institutionalize this, including the storytelling, like creating space for to be human with one another. Because right now it's like they're just happening, but I don't know to what extent our organizations intentionally reflecting on this and basically saying, so what does that mean for us going forward? It's okay. Okay.
I think that was a big thing coming out of last week's session, that there needs to be a deliberate process to be far more intentional in considering.
Yeah.
Paul says she can't come on.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm saying she must just suggest a good time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so there's
So next week, what we think we could be focusing on. So if that could also help in terms of building into the work that we're doing and towards the advocacy. Like, for instance, if you think about the issues that came up today, are the issues that we think we could take up that could also go into the advocacy, or do you want to end in the campaign, or that builds into the end of the launch? Part of for me, I was actually thinking like, when I look at the responses and have my own frustrations as well, I think in as much as we need to do a business case for companies, there needs to be a case made for women why we need to speak up, why it's important for us to take advantage and leverage on the lessons that we are learning from this. So I'm not sure how we can do that. I know and I hear when people say we don't have the time, but I kind of feel like I wish there's something that we can actually do that shows what is likely to happen if we don't act, and if we don't take advantage of the gains we have made during this time, if we don't tell our stories to change things, you know. So I kind of feel like there's that kind of a thing that we need to awaken in us as women, to say we have to act, because if we don't act, or if we acted, these are the benefits.
I mean, so what I hear you saying in this is, I'm reflecting back to you, because my instinct was, I'm not too sure where to next. But what I hear you saying is that where to next is advocacy, right? We have to ignite. We have to ignite the passion for advocacy, and I think that's going to be a difficult session to put into place, because what we need is a senior, well-respected, corporatized woman, right, who's going to come and talk about all of that. Doesn't matter if you're not doing this. One of the things, no, that won't do. I was going to say I saw a really good interview with Pumzile, but I mean, that's kind of more COVID big than small. I wonder. And she's not really a corporate, I mean, she's well respected, but she's not a corporate space person. You need a corporate space person. And if we can't get them to come on to the call, we might do a video of them and screen it, like a video type interview. You need a corporate person who is involved in advocacy, who is involved in. You need a Zanele Mbeke, but I don't think we can reach her.
We might not reach her, but there's somebody I actually know who know her. It's actually interesting, because today I was looking at those at what those companies that Jabu sent, and one of the companies I noticed was is Women Development, whatever. By, yes.
WBD.
Yes. And I actually noted her as one of the people that we may actually want to hook up to. There is a friend of mine. Well, she was my junior at high school. She did some work. She's in the public relations work. She did some work for Zanele. And I'll ask her whether it is easy to access somebody like that. But there is somebody else in the company, which they mentioned. Is it Kanyile?
The CEO.
Yes, because I thought perhaps we might not find Zanele, but we may find the CEO, because the way they've explained, they were talking about the fact that this was the people who formed that organization was influential people who wanted to see economic benefits for women and stuff like that. So in my mind at that time, I thought it was not even about what we are talking about now. I was just thinking that those are some of the people that we need to reach out to for doing.
I feel like there's another name somewhere inside of me, but I'm not like it's far. I can't find it. Yeah. So, I mean, like, Mam Zanele is the epitome of it. She really is, because
Yeah.
she navigated through corporate, she generated wealth and influence through corporate, but she has transitioned to an advocacy space.
Yes.
And she's kind of like, she's safe, right? Because she can talk about how us nice corporate people can do advocacy and not be kind of those crazy activist people.
Yeah.
She's got all the optics for that. So that's definitely one person I can think of. I'm trying to think of others.
Yeah, even if we don't get her now, because we are talking about a journey, so because I'm sure somebody like that, it's not easy to just get them around the corner. So we might need to have time to be able to do that. Of course, the other person, but like and I don't know if she's worked in corporate. I know that who's Grasha, she I know she's in the foundation, but part of it is that whole thing of trying to give back to women. And she's quite an advocate as well, not necessarily in the corporate space, but like she draws people. I don't know. Samir's got access to her, by the way. So she may want to be thinking whether it is later in the year, try and see, because her dad is normally very busy. Try and see if we can also get those kinds of people to say, why is it important to be talking about these issues at this time?
I know the other person is Wendy Luhabe.
I was thinking about her. But I was actually thinking about her because yesterday I participated in a webinar by Ubusi Maluleke. So the person she was interviewing yesterday, Wendy is her mentor. She's trying to get her into boardrooms and like into boards and stuff like that. But I would rather somebody else, like reaches out to her.
Yeah, so she's not in my networks at all.
She's not, yeah. Because the other time when I tried to talk to her, there's a time I pushed her for months until I got her, and she came to speak. But the other time, I think that was a time when she was doing 60. So that whole year, she was actually quite busy and just taking care of herself and whatever, and traveling. So she actually said, Temple, there are other younger people who are influential that you guys need to be reaching out to. But perhaps through this friend of Busi, I'll talk to Busi because Busi is talking to, her friend who was speaking yesterday is a CEO of the construction, whatever, medical aid. So that's the link. Well, I don't know who got her into Wendy. Perhaps she might be able to, if she buys into what we're doing, she might be able to get her on board.
Yeah, so like Wendy's a hard nut to crack. As I say, I don't know her personally. I know her daughter-in-law, but like I also know that means nothing. So yeah, like she's very, very hard to.
Me, I followed her for months. But
so, the fact that you have successfully gotten her, that's a thing right there.
But that was once. The other time when I tried to, she said, hey, hang on. There are other people.
Yeah, but you know what? If she does that, then the question to ask her is, oh, okay, can you recommend? Can you connect? Because we struggle to think of other people. And the reason we struggle to think of other people is because they're too busy corporating to kind of, the one person I was thinking of was Yolanda Cuba.
Okay.
but I still think she's doing philanthropy, not development,
Mm.
right? She's currently running this kind of Twitter campaign where she's giving 2,000 Rand away to a woman a day of her own money, right?
Really?
But that's philanthropy, that's not
Yeah,
development.
so it's not advocacy.
Right? And you need someone who's got a development mindset, who understands that women are central to economic and social development.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like if we don't take care of them, the fallout is too heavy in society. And it tends to be the older people who get that.
Well, get Nandi to get us Pumzile.
I will ask if we can do like an interview, a recorded interview that we can air or share in just our session. I think we can ask that. I think it might be hard time wise and especially at this like short notice to get the time. But I think she could accommodate an interview.
Yeah. Hopefully. So why then don't we use next week then as an internal process of thinking with others? What happens? So we talk about, we pull the benefits, the gains we've made out of COVID. So already we talked about the flexi hours and all that, people being able to work during lunchtime, work and be with their kids and whatever, basically to try and build some narratives, really reflect on, so here are the gains. Let's think about, so going back into the campaign and the advocacy thinking, what is it that we need to be saying to people? What are we going to lose if we let this go? We don't necessarily need to have a speaker. Because I really think that, I really think that we need to talk to one another so that we are clear about, gosh, we've gained this, we've learned this, we've learned this, we've learned this. These are the benefits that have come out of this process. What will happen if we don't act, if we let this go? I don't know. It's just a thought. We can process it further, perhaps when there is call as well.
Yeah, so she's suggesting 9 o'clock tomorrow. She said either 9 tonight or 9 tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow. I really don't want to see myself on another Zoom call or discussion tonight. So, and she's saying 9 o'clock works for her. I think that you're on to something there. And I think that we can create that workshopping space.
Okay. Perhaps Keketso might, if we can also invite Keketso as well. She's out of the space, but at least she's been part of her work with CGE was to engage companies. So we can raise that.
You can get her from CGE.
Well. I don't know how. Yeah. She's gone.
I don't know. Is she the one that spoke at the development bank?
No.
Okay.
No, Keketo was the CEO. It's just that at that time she was not available because they were inducting the new commissioners. So I think that was the only person that was available at the time. But she was very passionate about the issues that we were talking about.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. And I know that there might be a lower level person at UN Women, someone who's more interested in the economic space and economic issues.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So I will touch base with where's my pencil? Yeah, you can tell I'm tired. I don't even know where my pencil is. It's on the floor. I will touch base with Nandi. Re Mam Pumzile and economy type person.
Yeah.
The other one I can think of is Basani, but I don't know how much like genderized work Basani has done. And I'm kind of wary of people from the artist community. I'm wary of people in the nonprofit sector because they're not earning properly, and so it feels like abuse to ask them to speak without remuneration. So yeah, but
yeah, and unfortunately, we don't have money to pay. Let's see. I'm sure when we speak, we will get some ideas of who might actually help in this. The other person that I'm thinking, the other person I'm seeing an invitation by SCO on gender equality in the workplace, some dignity for all wine project.
Yeah, that's what she's doing tonight. So she's saying
Okay.
that tomorrow would be better for her.
Okay.
That's what she's doing from 7 now.
Sure, Shem. Yeah. So anyway, I think we could also reach out as well in terms of helping and the writing and stuff like that to some people in the academic field. The person I'm thinking of, I don't know, I've lost contact with her. Puleng, Dr. Puleng. Forgot her name, but I knew her from the ecumenical sector. She used to write a lot and was very interested in issues around economic justice. So I'll actually check. Sonta might actually know her. Might have her contacts. Otherwise, she's on Twitter. I'll find out who knows how to contact her. Because also in terms of what Talita was saying, that whole thing around building value and whatever, she might also be a helpful person. I actually saw, now this is the last thought, and you go, Namaiko. I saw, when I was looking around this thing of the pink rand, there was there's a research that was done which basically came up with the value of the, what is it, the consume, what was that? The value of the pink rand in South Africa. And I actually wondered, how did they come, up with that, like quantification? I'll try and pull that, because I think in as much as it might take time to actually come up with quantities, but I think in terms of the thinking, we need a bit more people to actually help us in the thinking.
So people to help us think about building the business case.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I've thought of somebody who can help us, who can kind of just coach us through the process of the organizational process that you asked about. I need to remember to speak to her, and she might also be a person who can help with the business case, because she's kind of like she specializes in small business support.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just need to remind myself that I need to speak to her. In fact, I had invited her to today's session. And she didn't come. She had said she was coming, but she didn't come. She wasn't on the call. How's the website development going?
Well, it got delayed because of Leonard. So eventually I said to Malik, he must just go ahead. So we've sent him the information and we've paid for the domain. So he had said it should take something like a day to finish it up. So I asked Babu to take the information that we have on the profile, but we've also sent him the one that she had already put together on the campaign. So I think she's got enough information to work with. So I've been in contact with him today.
Okay. Is Jabu there?
No, I asked her to leave.
Okay, please tell her, please let her know that I am sorry. I haven't followed up on a lot of the correspondence. I will make time for it tomorrow. Yeah. It was just like the of prepping for today and all these sessions I had today. So I will follow up on all her correspondence tomorrow, and I will try and tighten the documents and everything like that. And then the campaign document, where are we on that? Was it me who was supposed to do the editing? Oh, Tembela, you know how I hate Canva editing. Tembela, go.
Look, Ricky, write a paragraph. By the way, you don't have, write a paragraph. You don't have much space on that, and just say around this particular paragraph, put this. Then I'll put it in.
Right. Oh, Canva editing is such a nightmare. I hate it. Okay. Okay. So I will get through that tomorrow. Have you sent the profile to APSA?
To Vodacom.
To Vodacom. Sorry.
Yeah, they have not responded.
No, don't worry. They'll get. I promise you. Like, you need to look at the situation. You need to look at this journey with ease. We are doing all of the right things, and people are either going to catch up to us or chase us at some point.
No, that's
right?
good.
So people who are like turning us down now are going to be searching for us later.
I was actually saying that to a friend today to say, hey, for as long as people are saying, when you say Womaniko, they say, what's Womaniko? Then it means we just need to do what we need to do. We will not stop. But I know, like, I totally agree with you that for me, when I look at what we are doing, this is huge. It just needs, we just need to continue building momentum and not give up. So I'm actually not even stressing. I was stressing yesterday because there was just so much. And up until around 8, I was like, oh, I still need to do this. I still need to do that.
Yeah. I also talked to Tara, and she suggested, which I think we need to think about. She suggested that we try and do like costed webinars on Symphonia.
Do what? Or costed webinars?
Like monetize.
Yeah,
through Symphonia, because Symphonia has got a great database. And then I went and I looked at the kind of webinars they run, and I was like, yeah, we can do that. So she suggested that might be an easier way to monetize, instead of us like still doing the marketing of and like trying to get people into our own spaces. Rather talk to Symphonia and say we want to do a webinar on courage and resilience.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, she gave a lot of suggestions, and I looked at all of them. Symphonia was the only one that made sense. She had also suggested the Women's Development Bank. So Zanele and Becky's company, but they cater to young women, not us. And she had also suggested We Connect, which feels a bit, We Connect is much more kind of an entrepreneurial network, which I think is good, but I think we need to think about it as different and separate work.
Okay.
So working with women who own businesses, I don't think is the same thing as working with women in the workplace. So women like Lungi, right? And I think that we need to think about how we do that work and do it quite differently from the workplace work. Yeah.
In fact, bringing our own experiences as well,
Yeah. So I do think it's an area of work that we should be looking into. Yeah.
Okay.
But we need to think that through and not just do it.
Sure. Ricky, go and sleep. Go and have time with the kids. Thank you so much. That was good. That was nice.
Thank you. And thank you for this afternoon. Oh my God. I just couldn't believe how everything cracked open and people were just there with their stories.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's actually interesting because I also didn't go there thinking that I was going to share, but I was, it's one of those things that you kind of push away, you push aside, and you don't think about it and whatever. But until you get into a space where you know that actually this thing is not okay, and the fact that it still triggers the kind of feelings that it does when you talk about it, yeah, we carry so much, and sometimes I think because we don't, I mean, these things are there, and because we don't take them out of the system, they slowly kill us without even us being aware.
Yeah. So you've got me thinking that we do need to kind of put a healing element in.
Yeah.
Because I had to do quite a lot of debrief afterwards. I had to debrief June, I had to debrief Nandi, I had to debrief Rev. So there were a lot of people who were quite triggered. But at the same time, I thought that the women who were talking were kind of healed, because it's that euphoria of being heard for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
So
have
it's
a
a
good
great
evening.
Space.
I said have an amazing evening. Say hi to everybody.
Thank you. I will. Please hug those people around you too.
I will do. They're running around like maniacs, so yeah.
Thank you.
There's been no mommy, no control, no nothing. I'm expecting to be in the house upside down.
That's nice for them.
Hey, I'll be chasing Legos all evening.
Anyway,
Night.
thanks.